The Tuskegee Syphilis Experiment. In 1932, during the Great Depression, a medical study began in Alabama. It was presented as a program to provide free health care to poor African-American men. Most of the men were sharecroppers. They were told they were being treated for what doctors called bad blood, a term used locally for various illnesses. But that wasn't the truth. The real purpose of the study was to observe what would happen if syphilis was left untreated. Around 600 men were enrolled. About 400 of them already had the disease. The rest were used as a control group. None of them were told their actual diagnosis, and none of them gave informed consent. Instead of treating the disease, doctors chose to simply watch it progress. Over the years, the men were given free meals, medical exams, and even burial insurance. But they were never given the one thing that could have saved their lives: treatment. By the 1940s, a highly effective cure was already available. It could have fully treated the condition, but the researchers chose not to provide it. The study continued for decades. The participants' health slowly declined over time. Many faced serious long-term complications. Some unknowingly affected their families. Future generations were impacted as well, all while authorities continued to observe. In 1972, the truth finally came to light through an internal leak. The public reaction was immediate. The study was stopped. By then it had lasted nearly 40 years. In 1997, an official apology was made to the families involved. The tobacco industry cover-up. In the early 1950s, the tobacco industry faced a growing crisis. For years, smoking had been seen as normal, even healthy. Cigarettes were advertised everywhere, from magazines to television, and doctors themselves sometimes appeared in advertisements. But scientific studies were beginning to tell a different story. Researchers started finding strong links between smoking and lung cancer, along with several other deadly diseases. If these discoveries became widely accepted, the entire tobacco industry could be in serious trouble. So in December 1953, the leaders of the largest tobacco companies gathered at the Plaza Hotel in New York to decide how they should respond. Instead of directly denying the growing evidence, they chose a different strategy. Their plan was simple: create doubt. Public relations experts advised that if people believed the science was still uncertain, many would continue smoking. Soon after, the companies launched a nationwide advertising campaign called a frank statement. The message claimed that tobacco companies cared deeply about public health and promised to fund more research into the issue. Behind the scenes, however, the industry created organizations that appeared to support scientific research, but were actually designed to challenge or delay the growing evidence. Internal documents later revealed how deliberate this strategy was. One memo summarized the approach in a single line: "Doubt is our product." By keeping the public confused about the dangers of smoking, tobacco companies managed to delay regulation for decades. During that time, millions of people continued smoking while the health risks became increasingly clear. But corporate cover-ups weren't limited to the tobacco industry. One of the most disturbing secrets of World War II involved the deliberate execution of thousands of prisoners. The Katyn Massacre. In 1939, at the start of World War II, Nazi Germany and the Soviet Union invaded Poland and divided the country between them. During the Soviet occupation, around 125,000 Polish soldiers, police officers, and government officials were taken prisoner. Many of these men were part of Poland's educated elite: doctors, professors, lawyers, engineers, people who represented the country's leadership and intellectual community. These prisoners were transported to special camps such as Kozelsk, Starobelsk, and Ostashkov, where they were interrogated by the Soviet secret police, known as the NKVD. Then, in March of 1940, Soviet leader Joseph Stalin approved a secret order. Nearly 22,000 of these prisoners were to be executed. By eliminating Poland's leadership and educated class, the Soviet government hoped to weaken the country permanently. During the spring of 1940, NKVD execution squads carried out the killings. Prisoners were taken one at a time, shot in the back of the head, and buried in large mass graves. In 1943, German forces discovered these graves in the Katyn forest and announced the discovery to the world. But instead of admitting responsibility, the Soviet Union claimed that the Nazis had committed the killings. Finally, in 1990, Soviet leader Mikhail Gorbachev acknowledged that the massacre had indeed been carried out by Soviet forces. Secret documents later confirmed that Stalin himself had approved the executions.